I'm going to talk about The Planners by Boey Cheng. As you know, I always go through the same structure, which is title, structure, setting, theme, mood, tone, atmosphere, and at last the conclusion. So the title, The Planners, indicates that the poem will be about people who plan. However, when we go through the poem, we discover that the planners are not ordinary people, they have authority, a power to desire on the layout, on the landscape of a city. The authority of the planners is seen through their ability to create a man-made creation as seen in stanza 1, line 3 and 4. The speaker uses the word they 6 times in the poem when referring to the planners. Through this repetition, he is able to ironicate and isolate himself from them and is still a sense of misery as who those planners might be. This is why referred as the third person. The poem is made of 3 stanzas of 27 lines as a structure. The very structure of the poem seems to fight against the artificial perfecture of the planners, as both the numbers of stanzas and lines in the poem are odd numbers. Odd numbers present negative connotations and negative image. So, through this, the speaker highlights the disillusionment with modern society, phrase for more technological progress. This is seen in stanza 1, line 7 and stanza 2, line 12. The setting of the poem is in the city. Words which suggest this are, quotes, building, comma, roads and bridges, line 5. Boey Cheng is making here reference to his own country, which is Singapore. As you know, the author wrote this poem because he thought that Singapore was going far too much on development and this was erasing its culture and background. And all this can be related under context because your social and cultural contexts are being erased and damaged. So now we can see that the people are reflected on Singapore as mechanical and heartless. So therefore the progress is killing, 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 and they're being less caring about what they're losing and they're not being conscious about what they might be losing and how this can affect the future generations. To make us readers understand this, the speaker makes reference to maths by using words like, quote, permutation, line 2, quote, alignment, line 3, and points and mathematics, both in line 6. Through this, the speaker highlights the austerity of a city landscape. This is because mathematics is usually considered to lack feelings as numbers and which are detached and indifferent, hence the irony in stanza 1, line 6. Also, each word from the lexical field of mathematics is significant because permutation indicates a limited amount of possibilities, whereas gridded suggests a confined frame words. Both words implies individuality, which is neglected, and creativity, which is boxed in the Singaporean cities. The atmosphere of the poem is dense and heavy. References to mathematical terms indicate how space in Singaporean cities are filled and gridded, which are both quotes, to meet the requirement of the planners. This is seen through stanza 1, line 3 to 4. This sense of stiffing is seen through the caesura, which means a sudden full stop in the middle of a line, to reinforce this effect on suddenness, a feeling of suffocation, and which the speaker feels unable to bear, and thus why he quotes, they built and would not stop. The tone of the poem is accusatory in stanza 1 and seen mainly in line 7. This tone gradually shifts to become negative in stanza 2, especially in line 10 and 12, and finally in the last stanza. The tone is more indifferent. This is seen through the bleeding metaphor in the stanza. The rhyme and the theme of perfection helps to show the obsession of the planners, who have no claims to remove their history and to build a new one. They are heartless and thus not seeing what they're doing. The asyndeton in the beginning of stanza 2 illustrate obsession, where they have to, quote, erase the flaws and also, quote, blemishes and what is useless. This is done so often that the speaker makes use of an oxymoron in the last line of the stanza 10 to illustrate that at one point there is no difference. Actually, it's not stanza 10, sorry. Still, there is no difference between the past and tomorrow of the Singaporean city. The speaker turns the second stanza into an extended density metaphor to illustrate how Singaporean cities are passing on and the history is being erased and uprooted so as to make the city perfect, quote, rows of shining teeth. The speaker also makes use of an alliteration in line 2, stanza 3. The emphasis between the D sound shows the damage done to the city's heritage. The death imagery in the last line of stanza 2 shows that the obsession of the planners for perfection has killed the historical heritage of the last century and reduced them into fossils. The theme of city versus nature highlights the need of the planners to fully control the landscape to the disadvantage of nature. The personification in stanza 1 line something shows how nature is affected by the uniform of the planners. The presence of an alliteration in line 9 reinforces the idea. The emphasis on the S sound highlights the fact that nature is scared of man-made development. In order to ensure that the quote pilling continues and quote drilling goes right through, the planners need to wall out nature and thus remove the non-conformity and openness. So here you are, guys. That was the analysis of the planners. Hope you enjoy it, and even if you don't, please don't dislike the video.